Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to Retro Flashback, showcasing gaming's roots for a new generation. Hey, remember when I did that long series of videos once about Capcom Arcade Cabinet for the 360 and PS3, and I said eventually I was going to get through the whole package, and then I didn't do a video for months? Yeah, let's fix that, shall we? So I'm not going to do the whole rest of the series one after the other. Don't worry about that. That was a problem before. But my console capture device, the Elgato Game Capture HD, is a piece of crap. And I have finally replaced said piece of crap with the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable, which is not perfect, but far, far better. So we're going to be doing more stuff on the consoles as well going forward. So next up in this package that we had was Trojan. This is one of those games that, well, you'll see here. This is a game I remember much more fondly than perhaps is warranted. So, okay. So, Trojan is a game that did come out in the arcades, but you probably are more familiar, or most retro people are probably more familiar with the version on the NES. I'm actually not going to bother doing a comparison video here with this one like I did with Section Z, damn it. And the reason for that is that the main difference with the NES is that there's some sections where you can drop down into sewer grates and basically find little power-ups, and those power-ups can sort of enhance your character's abilities a little bit to make combat easier. But that's really the only difference. And this is the game it was based off of. It is and the problem was, Trojan on the NES I remember liking a lot. Not really sure why, because it actually wasn't that good. And sadly, I dare say this is even worse. So the idea of this game is that you are in some post-apocalyptic wasteland. You know, a nuclear war has happened, I guess, and stuff's kind of screwed up. And you are this sword and shield warrior, because as you can see, everything seems to have been reduced to medieval weapons in some way. And I'm going to get crushed by this boss here, just FYI. Yep. And your idea is that, well, you are some sort of... You're fighting for great justice, I guess. And as you see, you have a sword and shield, which is a little different than a lot of side-scrolling brawler-type titles like this. This game was very much modeled after Vigilante, which I've covered before, which is also a terrible friggin' game. And this was Capcom attempting to put their own spin on it. And I dare say that this game is better than Vigilante only because it has the variety of having the sword and shield in it. But as you're quickly seeing here, this game is brutally hard. It pulls no punches whatsoever. You have to attack the bosses in a and the other enemies in a very specific way. If you don't, attacks do a lot of damage. With these boss enemies, it only takes a couple of hits and you're basically boned. So you see, this guy you can take out real quick, but this guy can block you. There we go, got him. Nice fight. Advance against the following enemies. It's got some weak translation, but there isn't much to it. This game really has no story. The NES version didn't either. But as you can see, it's very unforgiving, but it is a super, super simple, you know, endless enemies, Irem style beat 'em up. And it's not even really a beat 'em up, it's just a combat platformer. Now, I like the idea behind it of, you know, you have your sword and shield and you can block enemy attacks, which is something you certainly couldn't do in the likes of Vigilante. But the problem is that you never know how the enemies are going to attack, and for the most part, the enemies don't attack until they're right up in your face. So if you're going to put your shield out, you don't have a lot of time to do it. And see, with those guys in particular, because they won't attack until until their character is essentially overlapping yours. And at that time, you really, unless you've got split-second timing, and I mean, I'm 35, so maybe, you know, like they say on the Bombcast, maybe my those muscle fibers in my fingers are just worn out enough that I just can't move quick enough. but you got to move real fast if you want to have your shield be in any way useful to you, which is kind of a bummer. And also, getting the right direction quickly when you want to, with at least with the Xbox 360 controller, is less than ideal, because the analog stick has too much lag due to the travel of the stick, and the D-pad is the 360 D-pad, which means it's an inaccurate piece of crap. So you're gonna have issues with that. And yeah, I don't know. It's funny, right? Because I don't know what changed, because maybe it's just because I didn't really have an idea of what was good gameplay mechanics or whatnot when I was a kid. But like when I was a kid, like the Vigilante game that I showed a while back, I liked that game when I was a kid. I liked this game on the NES when I was a kid, despite the fact that I don't think I ever got past maybe the second or third level at best. I have seen people speedrun this game, and I tell you what, watching someone speedrun Trojan is a thing of beauty, because obviously because they know where all the power-ups are and all that jazz. Son of a... And you can see there's extra little bonuses for doing things like taking out the dudes in the sewers, because that's a time-based thing. Taking out the guy in the window, because you have to go on the neon dance floor jump signs. So I don't know how in this how in this post-apocalyptic universe they have created jump pad technology, but they have somehow. Because video games in the 80s, right? So, yeah... This is to be honest with you, I kind of understand what... Ooh, health power up, not that I needed it. So, I kind of understand why they chose to put this in this collection, because this game, if I recall, was... Why did that guy turn around? Oh, because... Oh god, it's Bionic Commando. Oh, and I got him first try! Holy crap. And I got a wicked time bonus. Off to the craggy cliff, and hey, I'm gonna beat the factory high score. I think that's the first time I've ever done that in Capcom Arcade Cabinet. I'm a winner! Oh god, crossbow guys. I hope I can jump up high enough to get him. Or I could just skip him entirely, which is what I think I'm gonna do. So as you can see, the play in this, it is definitely about timing, and jumping into enemies definitely... It can help, though, as you can see, it's definitely not a be-all, end-all solution to everything here. I get what the... Am I supposed to hit that? Oh. Derp. So I get why they put this in here, because this was, I think, reasonably popular in the arcades and on the NES. I mean, Vigilante was popular too, right? You know, and it's just because I think it was a little edgy, because it's a very violent... Jeez. It is a very violent game, obviously. Well, violent by the standards. You know, it's some fairly visceral combat. It's a sword and shield, which is a little different. And people liked, things that... This twisted the formula a little bit, and people did like that. Which I can get behind. I can respect that. And it was reasonably popular, and the NES version had the power-up mechanic and other things like that, which was different, to be sure. But at the end of the day, this game is hyper simplistic. It's hyper simplistic. It's cheap, as you can see. You know what? And yeah, I'm gonna file that in there. Well, at least the post-apocalypse has some happy music in it. Yeah, take that, Toshi. So, yeah, this game, honestly, it does not, it was really not very good back when, and it doesn't really hold up all that well now. There's kind of not a lot to say about it. I mean, it really doesn't have a... Maybe I'll back out to the menu in a minute here and we'll take a look and see what it has in terms of story. If it actually has any real story to speak of. If it does, it's probably one of those things that was written on, like, the flyers, on either the promotional flyers or on, like, the cabinet art and wasn't actually in the game at all. Which basically means they were just like, hey, we gotta fill this art space with something, so let's talk about story. Damn it. And yeah, there are better options than this, even from the era. The NES version had some other elements, but the NES version was also technically not very good. It looked a lot worse. It sounded a lot worse. It was glitchy, as many early Capcom games were on the NES. The idea of sword and shield combat is appealing, but it's implemented in a way that makes it really hard to take advantage of it in an effective way unless you get, you know, super, super good at the game. And arcade games have to hook you early, otherwise you're going to be like, well, this friggin' sucks. Why do I want to keep, why do I want to keep wasting my time with this? And that's the problem. The time needed to get good at this is probably more than more people are willing to put in. It's more than I would have been willing to put in back in the day. It was easier on the NES when, I only got a game every once in a while and just could kind of sit down and pound through it because I wasn't using quarters. But yeah, this not so much. Let's go back quick and see what this has to say. Oh, thank you. Shows you how little I played Trojan in this collection, that I'm unlocking stuff this early. Because you basically unlock those for beating like one stage, I think. So, let's check out the gallery. The gallery is where this stuff would be. Yeah, see, this is just wallpaper for the background of Capcom Arcade Cabinet itself. Special picture? I have nothing in there. Yeah, and you see this is all for other games. So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, story, it's a bloody arcade game. Does story matter? It does not. So it's neat this is in here. You can have a little bit of fun with it for a while, especially if you put the training mode on so that it's a little less dickish with you. You can certainly do that. Yeah, so there's casual mode. Let's just see how casual mode plays. Let's try first mission. Yeah, this looks like enemies just do less damage. Because most of the main enemies, at least, or the little enemies, die in one hit. So it looks like they do less damage. I bet the bosses are way easier to kill as well. I bet I'll take the boss out with like one hit, two. Yeah. This is a lot easier. Oh yeah, also I have 10 lives. I just noticed that too. So there you have it. Yeah, it's not a... Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely one of the weaker entries in this collection. I mean, I still say if you're going to buy this package, that the complete package, the all-in-one pack that has every game, is the way to go for value. So you'll get this anyway. And yeah, you can kill a little bit of time with it, have a little bit of fun, but it's pretty weak. There are better arcade brawlers, full-on brawlers, or even platforming brawlers that you can play. Wow, that was really hilarious. Let's just get to the end of the second stage here, just for kicks and giggles. I want to kill that stupid armadillo guy. Screw him. Walking through the wasteland, not paying attention to you, and you're gonna turn around and run, or you're not, actually. Hey. 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 Die. Oh, God. Hey. Why won't you... Oh, geez, he blows up, too. And you take damage for that. That is mean. I also like how it's showing me now as having 0A enemies. Oh, God, flying dudes. Okay, this gets really mean later. But there's hyper jump pads everywhere, so... It turns out they're really hard to kill. Now I'm taking out a crazy court jester? But I beat him. So as you see, there's not much to this. The levels are really, really short, and I mean, the game is really tough, so it gets away with that. And now we're getting into facilities and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, you get the idea. It's not great. there are much better entries in this, and yeah, if you buy the all-in-one pack for this, sure, have some fun with it, but by and large, not worth your time, if you ask me. So that is Trojan, this version published and developed by Capcom in 1986 for arcades. It also came out in either, did I say 96? 86. Also came out in either 86 or possibly 87 for the NES, which is a slightly different version, but it has the same elements to it, and it's still not great. So I wouldn't screw around with it if you get the package. Otherwise, don't bother, if you ask me. My name's been Parallax Abstraction. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.